Okay, what's up, everybody? Straight right boxing talk. Um, Decent fight coming up this weekend. Adonis Stevenson versus Andrew, whatever the fuck it is. Fonfara Part 2. I'm gonna do the usual breakdown here. Strengths, weaknesses, and how Fonfara can win this fight. Adonis Stevenson is 28-1, 23 knockouts, 5'11", 77-inch reach, and he's 39 years old. Fonfara 29-4. 17 knockouts, 6'2 and a half, 77-inch reach as well, and he's 29. Their last three fights, Adonis Stevenson beat Saki Obika by unanimous decision April 4th, 2015. Third round knockout against a fucking grossly overmatched Tommy Karpency September 11th. And fourth round knockout against Thomas Williams Jr. July 29th, 2016. For Fonfara, he had that unanimous decision win over Nathan Cleverly. That was that fight of the year candidate with fucking 5 million punches between them. October 16th, 2015. Then he had a TKO loss in round one where he got blown the fuck out by Joe Smith Jr. June 18th, 2016. And then a 10th round TKO win over Chad Dawson back in March 4th this year. The best wins for Adonis, he doesn't really have a great resume. You might say it was his first fight over Fonfara or his win over fucking Tony Bellew. I guess Bellew has been pulling a lot of rabbits out of his hat lately. I like Bellew though, but I'm sure we'll talk about him his next fight. Fonfara's best win. I was gonna say Chavez Jr., but he's obviously a fucking mess. He did knock down Chavez and make him quit. So you're probably going to say it's his win over Cleverly in that unbelievable fight back in 2015. On to their strengths now. Adonis Stevenson has destructive KO power, especially his left hand. I'm not an Adonis fan. I think he's, well, look into him if you don't already know. He can box pretty well. He destroyed fucking Chad Dawson. He outboxed Tavoris Cloud, but he prefers to come forward and take one to land one. He feints well with his lead to set up the kill shot like he did against Dawson. He does a good job keeping his head off center during attacks and combinations. Stevenson is great offensively overall. He's efficient, fast, explosive, and counters well. He does a good job neutralizing his opponent's jab, which he did against Chad Dawson, which leads to great counterpunch opportunities. His game plan is usually to keep things mid to long range and detonate that fucking atomic left hand. He's athletic and skilled enough to quickly close distance too. He's a southpaw, obviously. Takes good angles and makes his punches hard to pick up at times. On to Fonfara. He has a good jab, good combination puncher, and is an unbelievable volume puncher. He uses his length and his reach really well. He has respectable power, but he's not overly explosive or a one-punch knockout guy. He's more of an accumulation puncher. He's a capable finisher too, despite not having massive power. He has good footwork, and he controls the pace well. He fights to establish his own rhythm and keep opponents outside and unable to attack him on their terms. He fights with a lot of heart and determination, especially as fights wear on and as his opponents wear down. And you can see that in the Chavez and Dawson fights. He's solid defensively. He keeps his chin tucked behind the high guard. He has good physical strength. He refused to be bullied by Chavez, who he eventually made quit on his stool. Onto the weaknesses for Adonis first. Let's be honest, the guy has no interest in fighting the best challenges in his division. Kovalev, Ward, Beterbiev, Gvozdyk. I mean, you're not going to see him in the ring with any of those fucking guys. Kovalev, for example, tried to make that unification fight, and Stevenson hid behind the guise of being a Showtime fighter, even though he has no attachment to Showtime, whereas Kovalev strictly has a contract with HBO and has to fight on HBO. So Stevenson basically dodged that fucking fight, which should not be a surprise to anybody. His left hand, he lets his hands go, from his waist far too often. It's a bad idea against somebody with fast hands and good counter punching. His game plan is predictable, mid to long range, left hand. You know, that's pretty much what you're going to get from him. He gasses late. You could see his mouth was wide open the first time he fought Fonfara. And occasionally disregards both defense and the placement of his lead foot, which allows fighters to keep him from effectively reaching them. He also has a really fucked up past outside the ring. He's involved in some disgusting fucking things. Google it. It's crazy. Fonfara's weaknesses, he's athletically limited and he lacks serious power befitting a guy his size. He can be hurt to the body, which you can pretty much say of any fighter, but it happened to him a few times in the first fight. He has no real defining characteristics or abilities outside of maybe his heart. He's pretty upright and he fights with a high guard, which makes it easy for aggressive fighters to push him back from time to time. He can be slowed and troubled by fighters with good use of angles and a good feel for range, as you could see in the Gabriel Campillo fight. He got bagged for, I think, anabolic steroids in 2010, I think, or 2009. And he had a TKO win turned into a no decision. So that kind of fucking blows for Fonfara. He starts slow sometimes, as he did in their first fight, and in the last time out against Chad Dawson. And he doesn't always sit down on his punches. He's content to just, score points. So, how does Fonfara, however you say his first name, win this fight? I think it's Andrzej. Anyways, what he needs to do, he needs to beat Adonis Stevenson with his fast combinations, as he learned late in their first fight when he abandoned countering and managed to drop Stevenson with 2 left hooks and a right hand. Controlling pace and range will also be key, as will the intelligent use of lateral movement and willingness to accept that he will be hit hard and likely hurt at times. But he must be willing to get inside and get off power shots and combos of his own. There's some concern over the quality of his chin after getting blown out by Joe Smith in one round, but there's also concern over a nearly 40-year-old Stevenson's ability to go 12 hard rounds at anywhere near the pace of the Cleverly Fonfara fight from late 2015. Since they last fought, the quality of opponents for Adonis has been abysmal. He's fought Dimitri Sukhatsi, Saki Obika, Tommy Karpensi, and Tommy Williams, while Fonfara's have been much better. Chavez Jr., Cleverly, Joe Smith Jr., Chad Dawson. I mean, not phenomenal by any means, but better by comparison. Both guys know what they're facing in one another, but I feel like Fonfara's relative youth, size, and tactically applied volume punching will prove the difference this time. I believe he wins a unanimous decision in a hard-fought contest. That is, as long as Adonis Stevenson doesn't detonate that left hand first. How do you guys see it? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks again for listening. I hope you're all doing well. Straight right boxing talk. I'll catch you guys next time.